Huh? Why me? How am I supposed to pull this off? I'm not good enough for this. I don't have experience in this. It looked like a boring kind of business. Let's face it, there are some sectors out there that they don't really seem interesting for designers to work on. But a professional designer can both make it look strong and appealing to your target audience, while also make it look amazing. The client is launching a property management and investment company that attracts investors. They want to be established straight away in the market. They want to grow fast. They wanted a timeless visual identity that's also bold and can stand out on social media so that they can attract young investors. Where their competitors use really boring assets, they really wanted to stand out with something elevated and modern, and their request was to definitely use some neon color in their brand color palette. Now, I'll be honest, when I received this brief and before I had my first conversations with the client, I was not sure that I'm the right designer for this project, just because I have been working on more colorful projects, wellness, skincare, beauty. So the property management was a bit out of my comfort zone. And I say a bit, but actually was a lot out of my comfort zone. However, after our first discussions, we realized that we can create something unique, something bold, and something that they can really feel confident with, so that the visual identity grows together with their company. No matter what the business sector, what you want from your business is to have credibility when you reach out to customers and clients or they come to you. You want to make sure that you look professional, put together, consistent, and that you are really established in the market, even if you have only just started. The light just went off. Let's continue without the light. And let's face it, when you think of property management, investment, what are you thinking in terms of the businesses that are already out there? You're thinking of blues and houses and roofs, skyline silhouettes, an arrow going up. And at this point, it just looks like everyone is using the same principles over and over again, and they replicate the same ideas when it comes to their business. With this business, we really wanted to stand out. We wanted it to be timeless, and for whoever looks at the visual identity recognizes that this is this specific business, Habiti. The owners were quite overwhelmed with the amount of things they wanted to do before their launch, so I really wanted to take off the load of the visual identity. So with a few discussions and a few examples I sent to them, I made sure to reassure them that this is going to go well and that they will have a visual identity at the end of this project, that they will feel confident and that they would look forward to show off their new brand. Since I already knew that we definitely wouldn't use all these cliches for this specific project, I wanted to dig deep into the brand's values and the brand's goals, and this is where the first step of the project started, which was the word mapping. I started writing down all the words that I could associate with this business, these clients, and I also asked the client to send me 3 to 5 words that they wanted their ideal clients to associate with their business. As a business owner, you need to remember that your business is not what you think it is, it's what the client sees in your business. So you need to understand, when you look at your visuals, what they actually translate to your client's eyes. And you will see here that we have words like powerful, trust, foundation, building blocks, stairs, going up, going forward. And that's where things started to click in my mind, but I wanted to make sure that the idea that I had was unique enough for them. I actually had to learn quite a lot about what they do because I never had experience with working with a client in property management or investment. After all the research, I decided that I really should stop looking at these for inspiration because it was just not there. So I looked at different things. I looked at symbols, I looked at 8 monograms, 8 shapes. I looked at banking, which I found an interesting sector to look for inspiration, and then everything just clicked. Even in that initial kind of word mapping, I had an idea in my head that I really wanted to use the words foundation, building blocks, and stairs, and we had the capital letter H from their name Habiti, but I didn't want to make the very obvious association with the H being a ladder. I wanted to dig deeper and make a more standalone and a more unique symbol for them. And that's where the building blocks idea came to mind. There was no trademarked symbol or something similar, and especially in this sector, so I was able to build on this foundation and building blocks idea, and it turned out like this. In terms of this specific project and how I thought it would go and how it actually went, I don't even think that the client was hoping for such a unique and such a bold design because of the industry that they're in. I'm really glad with the finished result, but for me as a designer, I think what helped me to get a smooth project timeline, a smooth delivery, and the result I had for this specific project, especially being completely out of my experience and comfort zone, helped a lot to build foundations and systems in my freelance business, and to have the questionnaires that had enough questions and deep questions for the client to answer, and then for me to take this information and dig even more deep into the sector so that I can understand more, especially if you don't know the business that you are designing for, if they don't exist already, if you haven't worked with this type of business before. You need to make sure as a designer that you ask the right questions. No question is silly, and you need to make sure that you have the systems in your business and the foundations at the start. It might take longer than you would anticipate, but you need to make sure that you build strong foundations at the start of the project before any design has started, and you need to explain this to your client as well. It is really important to ask these questions, to answer these questions as a client, so that you have a smooth project, you don't have frustration and you don't have friction. That way the client is really confident that together you will be able to create the brand of their dreams. When you pay attention to all of these, and when as a client you trust the designer that you have hired for this project, 99% the project will be a success. Your business will look strong and professional, and you will not need to rebrand every 2 years because you haven't done it right the first time. You will have a cohesive and unified look, and your clients and customers will trust you with their money, their property, their projects, their people. So it is really important to make sure that you build these foundations. If you think you are in a boring industry and your brand looks and your business looks very similar to everyone else's, this is not really playing safe. You are just being invincible. You just need to find the correct way to stand out and win your clients.